The Quiet Place is the kind of film, that in my personal opinion, or for me, that features story elements that are absolutely necessary or seemingly necessary to support the plot and the whole story of the film. So while I think that The Last Jedi introduced story elements and followed the adventures of certain characters that were ultimately completely unnecessary, because that film, while that film is essentially about hope, it seems that most of the story is about disappointment. And I'm not sure that was absolutely intentional, but the truth is that these two are quite dissonant. Now, if you've seen The Last Jedi and you liked it, well, I liked it too, to be honest, but I still think that those story elements were unnecessary. In The Quiet Place, which is about a family and survival and all that sort of stuff, not very Star Warsy, every little story, every action that we witness contributes to the overall plot, the overall story arc. And while it's guilty of the not paying attention to the camera angles thing, what we see is all the necessary plot points that ultimately culminates into the finale. And that's what, in my opinion, The Last Jedi missed. And I think that the original Star Wars trilogy is not perfect, but at least it contains that element which I think that is essential to each story. Not just the mystery ones or the investigative film noir thingies where you have to piece together what happened and who's the murderer. I think that's mostly essential to each film. Although I might be wrong, I just really liked the movie. And it just made me think that that's the kind of story I really love. The one that ultimately shows us everything, all the necessary things that we will use to conclude the story, emotionally and reasoning-wise. I'm sure that it has its problems, which I didn't notice, because it felt like a refreshing story that kept me wanting to learn more. And this wanting to learn more feeling is essential. And I think that the underlying mechanism is that once I realize as the viewer, the witness to the story, is that whatever I see is essential, I keep paying attention because I know that in the end I'm going to use it, or at least it will pay off. And that's not something I see when I rewatch The Last Jedi, and I've watched it I think 3 or 4 times because I thought that there must be something in it that I just don't notice. Although when you don't notice it for the first time, when you first see it, that's probably a very bad sign. Still, I'm not the smartest person in the universe, far from it, so I thought that, you know. But this film, The Quiet Place, that's the sort of film that makes you notice that you are... I think it somehow, this mechanism somehow involves you into the story. Somehow you've become an essential part when you say, oh, don't go there, or oh, figure it out because that's the solution to the puzzle, or whatever. There are many types of viewers. Some are very experienced, so some plot points just usually give away the end. If you've seen a couple of these types of movies, then yeah. But even if this is your first time, you are going to wander throughout the whole story. I think I've made my point. If that makes sense, I'm happy about it. If it doesn't, just tell me, and then might revisit this, because this is the first time when I tried to summarize it. So that's it, and just a heads up, The Quiet Place is kind of a scary movie. It's not very bloody, it's not very horror, but it's definitely a thriller. But also it's not the kind of film where teenagers wander around and go after the serial killer, because why not, and then try to run away, but then suddenly trip and die or something. There's nothing like that in it. It's a proper story, and all the fear is there for a reason. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'm signing off now. Goodbye.